Guten Tag, or shall I say baguette de pastry at surrendering, because today I'm talking about Napoleon Bonaparte, the French general turned emperor who, contrary to popular belief, wasn't all that short, standing at a firm 5 foot 6 inches. Keep in mind, Napoleon was still a general in one of the greatest militaries at the time, because this was 1807 and state leaders still led armies. To give you perspective on Napoleon's fame and military glory back then, imagine if you're in Afghanistan, right? You've been here for 3 tours already. You think you've seen everything, from sand at night to camels at fright. The ultimate evil. And you look up to see Obama leading a charge on horseback, M16 in one hand and an American flag in another. That'd be cool as hell, but nowadays we made it all a bit more boring and we have designated positions to better fulfill the needs of the military. Anywho, Napoleon had just signed a declaration of peace between France, ruled by him, and Imperial Russia, ruled by Tsar Alexander I. In celebration of this, a man by the name of Alexander Berti, who was Napoleon's chief of staff and military chief, arranged a large rabbit hunt, which was the beginning of Napoleon's defeat. Never mind the Battle of Waterloo, that's for nerds, and around these parts we challenge nerds to a 1v1 in Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, you're a druid that can turn into a bear or a pelican or whatever? Yep, I just really like the capability of nature in D&D. Well, one, at least you're an elf, but two, I'm a sorcerer, and guess what I have? Shocking Grasp, Firebolt, Magic Missile, Ray of Frost, Thunder Wave, Burning Hands, and Dancing Lights. So Alexander went out to collect rabbits, but for whatever reason, he went to the extremes and collected roughly several hundred to 3,000 rabbits. The stories differ wildly depending on who you ask. Don't even get me started on how you collect that many rabbits, because I sure don't know. And apparently neither does Alexander, because instead of wild rabbits, the kind intended for hunting, he decided to purchase domesticated rabbits, the kind that know human contact from surrounding towns. For comparison, that many rabbits is roughly the amount of time I invested into useless classes in my first year of high school. Looking at you, geometry honors, algebra 2 honors, and oh boy, can't forget about chemistry honors. Oh, what a fun time. On the fateful day of the attempted purging of the rabbits, the cages full of bunnies were lined upon an extensive field like some sort of brutal firing line concocted by Mother Nature. When Bonaparte and the other government officials arrived to the hunt, the rabbits were released and the showdown began. As the armed crowd ran into the expanse to catch their day's game, the bunnies and men grew closer to each other, but the bunnies didn't divert. This is considered something a normal rabbit wouldn't do, but since these were tamed animals, their stupid little animal small brains thought food and assumed the hunters were going to feed them. At first the hunters chuckled warmly. Oh, silly little animals with your stupid big ears. But they soon found that a lot of rabbits together could make one big animal with even larger ears, and the constant berating by the horde of rabbits had quickly demoralized the men. As the hunters were overcome with the rabbits, they tried to repel them using anything from sticks to sticks that shot balls of metal, commonly referred to as a musket, or so I'm told. Napoleon, knowing he had surely been defeated, retreated back to his carriage. Contrary to his hope for safety, the horde of rabbits used premeditated strategy, taking up arms and setting cannons alight. Nah, but they did divide into two armies, going around the party of remaining hunters and charging the coach of Napoleon. Before too long, Napoleon was essentially wading through a sea of rabbits, and they started to climb up his jacket like some sort of dark, twisted version of Ratatouille. This battle was only finished when Napoleon and his carriage scurried off. According to legend, Bonaparte threw rabbits from the carriage all the while, much in the fashion that I throw newborns whenever they give me a funny look. Well, that's all for right now. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, and if you didn't, let me know how I can improve and make it better. If there is anything you should take away from this, it's that you should slap a baby around every now and again, just in case it gets any funny ideas so that it's more important than you. Disclaimer, I am not responsible for the deaths and or harmings of any babies and or infants, so, I guess slap around a baby or child at your own risk, or in this scenario, their own risk. By the way, Dungeons & Dragons, or any tabletop role-playing game for that matter, is super fun, and I encourage everyone to try it at least once. From my experience, D&D is the most talked about and or heard of and or just widely accepted game that you can, do a tabletop RPG with. But no matter what you play, just give it a try, get some friends together, put together 4 or 5 hours one night that you are all free. It's a really good either bonding experience or just a good experience overall. Also, whenever I was talking about chemistry earlier in the video, It reminded me of this project we had in chemistry. We were doing a lab, and we were seeing, how different chemicals can change the color of fire. That's how they make fireworks, different colors. Cool beans, right? Um, so we had very specific instructions, safety goggles, don't play with fire, don't wave the fire, and well, yours truly lit a Q-tip on fire, which was part of the instructions, and it wouldn't catch off fire. I put it in like a little bit of water, apparently not enough, because the fire just kept on burning. So I started like waving it. Then the teacher comes and she's like, "Idiot, what are you doing? Stop that. Bad idea. You're dumb." Not her words, but I'm paraphrasing here. She didn't call me dumb. She's a teacher. But, you know, moral of the story, if you're going to shake fire, then make sure your teacher isn't around. Don't actually shake fire, though. That's a bad idea.